We are back in Austin, Texas, the third and final day of coverage at the 2021 Big 12 Diving Championships. We have one more event in store for you this evening, the men's platform final. Once again, I'm Kyle Sockwell, joined by Natalie Kalibat. Natalie, the story in this men's championship platform final is all Jordan Windall looking to complete the sweep.
That's right, Kyle. Wendell is looking to become the first Big 12 men's diver to ever win 4 consecutive titles on the men's platform. So it should be a fabulous contest tonight and a diverse contest. You've got 2 Texas divers, 5 West Virginia divers, and the first time we're seeing a TCU male diver in the finals so far this competition.
And speaking of those finalists, we're going to take a look at the start list right now before we get underway. We do have Jake Lowe, Landon Mcmonagle, Owen Johns, Nick Cover, Jacob Cardinal Tremblay, Paul Lenz, and then 2 Texans in Andrew Harness, and then there is Jordan Windall looking to complete the sweep here in Austin. He's won the 1-meter springboard, the 3-meter springboard, and we are ready for the men's platform final.
Kyle, you'll notice Jake Lowe's the first diver. In the preliminaries, he actually finished 10th. Usually the top 8 make the finals. However, Texas's Noah Dupaire and Brendan McCord dove exhibition. That opened up the door for Lowe and TCU's Landon Mcmonagle to compete in the finals this evening.
So there is Jake Lowe of West Virginia getting ready to start off this men's platform final.
Kyle, on the men's platform event, you'll notice the different levels that the men will go off of. Not everyone will go off of the 10-meter, which is the highest platform. That's 32 feet off the water. There's also the 5-meter and the 7.5-meter that the men can go off of as well. It's Landon Mcmonagle.
TCU.
That's right, and his coach Anthony Crowder told me from a high school 1-meter diver, he learned both 3-meter and platform at TCU, and he comes to practice every day engaged and motivated, and he will be doing some technically correct diving tonight.
There's our second West Virginia Mountaineer of 5 in this final. That is Owen Johns.
He's going off the 10-meter platform, doing an inward 2.5 somersault in the Pike position. Gets a strong takeoff on the start, gets a little bit short of vertical on the entry. You could see his excitement and his adrenaline on the top of the platform on that takeoff, gets into the Pike pretty quickly, and just ends up a little bit short of vertical for Owen Johns of West Virginia.
Next, Nick Cover of West Virginia, his teammate.
Cover was 7th in the prelims. You'll notice he's doing a forward 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. He will run to the edge of the platform. That is what you call a hurdle. And remember, Kyle, on the platform, we're listening for that noise, that rip sound. And you even heard it a little bit on Cover's dive right there, even though he just went past vertical on that dive. But that's when the diver flattens the palm of their hand and enters that little hole in the water that they make for themselves to try to make as little splash as possible.
So there's Jacob Cardinal Tremblay, another Mountaineer. A lot of Mountaineers in this championship final here, so big points for them in the team race.
Beautiful dive for Jacob Cardinal Tremblay, and Kyle, I know I've mentioned this over the few days that we've been broadcasting, but he's 6'1". He is a very tall man and a very tall diver. And he makes these dives so beautifully, and he makes them look so easy. He has a lot to spin with those long limbs, but he gets it done and receives 7s and 6.5s on that dive.
So there's Paul Lenz of West Virginia.
Going off of the 5-meter. Very nice back 2.5 somersault in the tuck position. Shows control. He's super happy. That was a very good dive. High degree of difficulty. You can see how well his muscle memory is trained, just knowing exactly where to come out of that dive.
So there's Andrew Harness, one of 2 Longhorns.
Going off the 10-meter, an inward 3.5 somersault tuck. You can hear that rip noise on his entry. He looks thrilled coming out of the water. You can see on that start, so much control and dominance, and just finishes up with a beautiful, clean entry for Andrew Harness of Texas, receiving 8s and 8s and 8.5s on that dive.
78.4 there for Harness as we take our first look at Jordan Windall. Once again, he was your champion on 3-meter and 1-meter springboard.
Looking to make the sweep tonight. And a good way to start the contest. Beautiful inward 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. Jordan's just such a pleasure to watch. He's so powerful, he's always in control, and he just knows how to line these dives up. He could do them in his sleep.
So through round 1, it will be Andrew Harness of Texas, followed by Wendell just behind him, about 2 points separating the two. So we get ready for round 2. This is Jake Lowe.
Doing a back twister, a lower degree of difficulty dive off of the 5-meter. He'll receive 6s. You can see from this angle, he squares it up and lines it up nicely. Going in the water vertical. We'll see our first handstand dive from Landon Mcmonagle. Shows control on the arm stand. He's learned his platform list at TCU with Anthony, so it's all about the progressions. Slow and steady wins the race, builds him up as a college athlete. And he's doing the majority of his dives on the 5 and the 7.5 meter platform.
Up next with his round 2 dive is Owen Johns.
He's marking his spot for his hurdle on his forward 3.5 somersault and tuck position. Getting a last minute grip in there. Make sure his grip feels good for his tuck. Very strong takeoff. You can see he keeps his head up on the start and gets into a small tuck position, showing control. He's seeing his spots. He has 3.5 flips to look out for, and then finds the water and just lines it up nicely. Getting 5.5 and 6.5s on that dive.
So there's Nick Cover, West Virginia.
An inward 2.5 on the 7-meter platform. Get some height off of the platform. Pikes out just a little bit short of vertical. Just a tad short. Cover top 5 in this event twice. So he's been here before and he knows what it's about.
So up now for West Virginia is Tremblay.
Doing a reverse 2.5. just over vertical. He just kicked a little bit high. It's all about seeing those spots. It's all about the visuals and diving. You can see he scooted a little bit out of the platform and just kicked up to the ceiling and caused his legs to wash over on the entry. He'll be a little bit disappointed in those scores, but you just move on. You have another dive to do next.
More diving to go with these athletes doing 6 dives in this championship final, and with his second, here's Paul Lenz.
Lenz had his career best in prelims, and you can see he's taking that momentum from the preliminaries and moving it forward. And Kyle, I must say, a lot of these West Virginia divers are doing dives off the 10-meter platform because we know this. They have that beautiful facility with the gorgeous towers to train as much as they can, so they're able to go up on the 10-meter and execute those dives daily.
Here is Andrew Harness of Texas as your leader after round 1.
That's that rip I was talking about. He just disappears in the water, receiving 8.5s on this dive, a forward 3.5 in the pike position. Look at that entry. 76.50 points on that dive.
Andrew Harness was in the lead after round 1 with Jordan Windall right behind him. Wendell with a higher degree of difficulty throughout his 6 dives, so Harness has his work cut out for him. We watch Wendell's round 2 dive.
Beautiful handstand dive, and the judges are looking for that control. They start judging the arm stands as soon as the feet leave the platform. They want to see you get completely straight, show control at the top of that arm stand, hold it for 3 seconds, which Jordan did. And look at that, he just springs off the platform. He makes it look like it's a springboard, Kyle, and it's not.
I mean, the flexibility that we see on these athletes is remarkable. And to be able to do that on 10 meters is insane to me. So Jordan will actually jump into the lead as we start round 3. Here's Jake Lowe.
This is a lower degree of difficulty dive. This is what we call a voluntary dive, a back dive in the pike position, a very pretty dive. Harder than it looks. It's all about control. And he shows that control on the entry, just going a little bit past vertical, but a very nice dive.
There's Landon Mcmonagle.
That was a front 2.5 pike off the 7.5 meter. And you can see Mcmonagle doesn't take long to get set up and go. He just wants to run right off the platform. And once again, he is just starting to learn platform with Anthony Crowder at TCU. So this is a big accomplishment to have him diving in this final.
So up next for West Virginia, that is Owen Johns.
So much improvement from Owen Johns, the sophomore from Pittsburgh. And when I talked to Carla Helder about him, she said he's a perfectionist. He's going to be the most nervous one, but she just wants to keep him breathing. And I don't know, Kyle, he looks pretty relaxed to me. He looks calm, and he looks like he's right where he belongs.
Does look relaxed, and he's doing well so far. And there's his teammate, Nick Cover.
Reverse 2.5 off 10 meter. Wow! Oh my goodness, that rip. Holy smokes, Kyle. Look at that dive.
That's one of those dives I'm looking forward to watching again.
Yes, he jumped straight up. Just showed so much athleticism and grace and poise and lined it up, disappeared in the water, got 8.5 and 9s on that dive. That's 74.20 points for Cover.
Great dive there for Cover, and here's his teammate in Tremblay. Going to follow that up with another great dive.
back 2.5 pike off the 10 meter, and you can see in the camera angle there's something spinning. That actually is a fan on the ceiling. That's how high up these divers are. And Jacob Cardinal Tremblay would execute that dive very nicely, a back 2.5 somersault in the pike position, gets that great distance from the platform and lines it up. He just missed a career best in prelims, but so far he's on the right track for making up for that.
So there is Paul Lenz of West Virginia. He was in third after 2 rounds of diving. This is his 3rd round dive.
Now you notice he just did that dive standing. You don't have to do a hurdle if you're doing a forward dive. It's just preference, whatever the dive feels comfortable with. And you can see he's comfortable on the 10 meter. He may be working on a hurdle, but he shows that control and he can execute the dive doing it standing.
So up next is Andrew Harness. Remember, he was in first after 1 round, but Windall just passed him in round 2.
Just past vertical, we saw Nick Cover do this exact dive and execute it so beautifully with those scores. You can see he gets tremendous height, a nice kick out, the legs just drop on the entry, causing him to just wash by on that dive.
There's Jordan Windall, your current leader and Big 12 champion in the 1 meter and 3 meter springboard.
My goodness. Jordan Windall just amazes us every single time. Holy smokes. That was a beautiful back 3.5. Look at the height. He almost gets 2 flips above the 10 meter platform, pikes out, and just disappears in the water. That was such a beautiful dive. So much power and grace from Jordan Windall. Remember, he set the meet record last year. He's a defending NCAA champion in 2019.
We will be back with round 4 and more of that guy right there, Jordan Windall, right after this. We're back in Austin, Texas. There's Jordan Windall, your current leader, who just threw down the gauntlet in round 3 with, I mean, Natalie, we got to watch him dive last year. I mean, that was ridiculous.
That was crazy. Kyle, he has that balance of power, athleticism, and grace, and he just executes these really high degree of difficulty dives so easily.
Once again, Windall with the highest degree of difficulty in the field. Right now we have Jake Lowe getting ready for his round 4 dive.
A reverse 1.5 off the 5 meter, a lower degree of difficulty dive, and he just kicked out a little bit short. You can see he pulled his chest up on his start, let the legs drop, and the judges will deduct a little bit off of that. He'll receive 4.5s and 5s just for going short of vertical.
So up next is Mcmonagle of TCU.
These divers may be nervous, but I don't know, they look pretty relaxed to me. Looks like we may be changing a dive.
Natalie, speaking of nerves, we talked about it during the women's platform event. I mean, some of these guys are going to be up on the 10 meter, and I mean, they've gone through the reps, but there's still those nerves, and I mean, you're over 30 feet in the air.
They are. You have to just trust your training and your muscle memory. And when I talked about the different levels of the platform, a lot of times you use the 5 meter platform to build up those 10 meter dives. And once you get that comfort level and you know how to do the dive, the nerves tend to take a step back a little bit. Mcmonagle doing a reverse dive in the pike position. This is a voluntary dive, more of a basic dive, but Anthony Crowder is focused on the long game with Mcmonagle, teaching him his platform list. He'll receive 5.5s and 6s on this dive.
There's Owen Johns of West Virginia. Once again, 5 Mountaineers in this championship final.
It's exciting to see a lot of points up for grabs here on the last event of the Big 12 Conference Championships on the diving side. John's also doing a reverse dive in the pike position. A basic dive, but he does it with beauty and with grace and a clean entry. Very nicely done.
Up next is Nick Cover. Over fourth. After 3 rounds with a great third round dive.
Cover does all of his dives off the 10-meter platform except for one dive, and he's beaten his prelims finish in both finals so far. So see if he can do it a third time, channeling that energy. Just short of vertical on that dive, but you can see when he slides out of the dive, he does show a lot of control. His legs just drop ever so slightly. You can see the light arch in his back that caused his legs to go a little bit short.
Up next is Tremblay, his teammate.
Jacob Tremblay, 10 meters, 624 feet.
Doing an arm stand back to somersault in the pike position. This is a big dive. Showed control at the top, used that momentum for his finish. A very nice back arm stand. You can see every diver gets up into the arm stand a different way because they can choose whatever they feel the most comfortable doing. And the arm stand is all about showing that control and that poise to the judges that you can hold it for 3 seconds or more.
So there's Paul Lenz, who was in 3rd place after your last round.
Lenz broke the West Virginia school record in prelims, passed his teammate, well, used to be teammate Alston Smith. And Lenz actually started out as a gymnast, which transfers over very well on the platform. You can see you need that power, you need that aggression. It's very similar to the vault or the floor in gymnastics. And he just has those fast twitch muscles to get these dives moving in the air. And he has beautiful lines.
I look forward to watching this West Virginia Mountaineer diving program continue to grow. Once again, a great facility for them out there in Morgantown. We were there last year. This Texas program with such lineage. And speaking of Texas, there's Andrew Harness trying to reel in Jordan Windall just a bit as Wendell has started to open up a little bit of a lead here on his teammate in Harness.
Kyle, I have to say, home pool advantage, right? These Texas Longhorns, they know where to look. They know these diving boards. They know the platforms and the feel of it. Andrew Harness just diving with so much confidence tonight. That was a very nice back 3.5 that he did off the 10 meter, and he was second last year in this event, so he's no stranger to where he is right now.
So there's Jordan Windall getting ready for his round 4 dive, and that degree of difficulty, 3.7, is going to be the highest in the field. So a big dive here for Wendell.
And Kyle, I've seen him do it for 10s. I know he can do it. Oh my goodness. I think I gave him a little bit of luck, right? Saying I've seen him do it for 10s. That was
all I can say is wow.
That was incredible. Look at this. He gets so much height, does almost 2 flips above the 10 meter. Where'd he go? Where'd he go in that entry?
I mean, just disappears.
Perfect. Just disappears. Picture perfect entry. Texas has won the platform every year since 2007. What an incredible dive. He received
score there.
3 10s.
We'll be back with round 5. Jordan Windall putting on quite a show. Don't go anywhere. 2 more rounds of dives here from Austin. We are back in Austin, Texas, taking a look at your leader right now, throwing up the horns. That's Jordan Windall. He just showed us pretty much what perfection looks like in round 4. He put up 111 points. Natalie, we watched him dive last year in Morgantown. This dive is just ridiculous.
He knows how to get 10s. Look at the power on that takeoff and just disappears on the entry. Just unbelievable dive from Jordan Windall. All 10s, so deserving. And he has a picture-perfect rip on the entry. He just knows how to get it done, Kyle. What can I say?
He does, and he's proved that so far. Remember, 2 titles already in this event for Jordan Windall. He's trying to make it 3 in a clean sweep. So there's Jake Lowe from West Virginia.
Does a forward 1.5 standing, a lower degree of difficulty dive. He does it nicely. Gets vertical, showing control, which is what the judges are looking for on a dive like this, and stays straight with the platform. West Virginia will be scoring a lot of points with all the divers in this final competition.
Again, swimming and diving scored together. They're not competing together this year. They're still teammates, and speaking of teammates, TCU putting a diver here into this field of 5 West Virginia athletes. We'll still hear some noise from teammates and coaches, parents and fans watching from home. Here's Mcmonagle of TCU.
A back 1.5 on the 5 meter in the tuck position. Mcmonagle is really trying to improve his platform diving. You see a lot of his dives are off the 5 meter platform to build his momentum as he looks to increase his degree of difficulty and go up in height on the 7.5 and 10 meter platform.
So there's Owen Johns of West Virginia.
On the 5 meter, a back 1.5 somersault in the Pike position. Now, as we gear up to the last round, you'll notice some of the divers will throw some of their better dives, their higher degree of difficulty dives, towards the end of their list. Kind of like to end on your strongest dive.
So there is Nick Cover, his teammate, another mountaineer.
Doing an arm stand double off the 10 meter. Once again, the judges look for you to hold the arm stand for 3 seconds at the top. Once your feet leave the platform, they start judging. showed a lot of control. He was up on that arm stand for a long time, showed control, got a lot of spring off of the platform, pushing off with his shoulders and his arms. Handstand dives take so much shoulder strength. And you can see once he gets into that kip and he bends his arms, he gets so much off of the platform. He receives 8s on that dive.
Great dive there for Cover. His teammate in Cardinal Tremblay up next in round 5.
52-35 game to win.
Very nice dive, a back 1.5 with 2.5 twists. Not a super high degree of difficulty dive, but takes a lot of control. You can see he jumped right up on the start, squeezed that twist. Cardinal Tremblay was a 2020 NCAA qualifier on platform, so he knows what it takes. Platform is one of his stronger events.
Third right now is Paul Lenz, who's getting ready for his round 5 dive.
Paul Lenz, 10-meter, 52-53.
Lenz started as a gymnast and then turned into a diver, so he applies a lot of those same muscles and skills that you need from gymnastics to the diving board. Beautiful rip noise you can hear on the platform. This is such an exciting event with just the sights and the sounds, right? I mean, these divers are executing these dives off of the platforms and they're ripping the entries. It's the sound that your hands make when you hit the water and you squeeze your shoulders as tight as you can. The impact these divers are hitting the water, especially when they're going off of the 10-meter, is incredible. You have to squeeze every muscle to stay tight, to stay in line, and also to just break that impact.
So Paul Lenz was in third, just 19 points behind Andrew Harness, so a little bit of work to do. Your leader was Windall by a good amount, but second and third, still just 19 points separating them through 4 rounds.
Exciting competition to watch. It's an exciting competition to be in. You know, Andrew Harness and Jordan Windall are used to competing every day in practice in this pool, in this building, and they just challenge each other. It just makes them better, and Andrew Harness just received 8.5s on that back arm stand. A very nicely executed dive.
There is Jordan Windall, your leader through 4 rounds and by a good amount. He's getting ready for his round 5 dive, but he has put on quite the show over the past 3 days here at the Big 12 Swimming and Diving Championships.
He is, and Wendell is a 2-time World Championship qualifier with Team USA, an Olympic hopeful as we enter this Olympic year. Oh my gosh, he does it again. It's like a machine, right? You push a button and he just goes. He does these flips above the 10-meter platform. He receives 2 10s and a 9.5 on this reverse 3.5 somersault in the tuck position. My goodness, and Kyle, I have to say he's a great follow on Instagram because he posts his dives and he nails them every day in practice.
Well, Jordan is putting on quite a show. We have one more round here from Austin, and we'll be right back after this. We're back in Austin, Texas. Taking a look at the skyline there, which has changed so much over the past even 5 years. Fast-growing city. We're taking a look right now at your leader, Jordan Windall, in the men's platform final. He has been clinical, and with 1 round to go, he's going to be hard to catch.
Kyle, Jordan Windall is just so much fun to watch. 2 dives he received 10s on. There's still a dive left.
So there's Jake Lowe of West Virginia. His 6th and final dive up next.
Chooses to finish with an arm stand. A very nice controlled dive, smooth at the top on the handstand, and just floats and squeezes the entry. A very nice dive for Jake Lowe, receiving 6s, a total of 30.60 points.
There's Landon Mcmonagle of TCU.
Landon Mcmonagle.
Mcmonagle learning both 3-meter and platform with Anthony Crowder at TCU. Just demonstrated a very in control back 1.5 with a half twist off the 5-meter. He shows so much promise as a freshman. He's got so much ahead of him in his college diving career.
Up next is Owen Johns of West Virginia with his final dive.
Owen Johns, 10-meter, 52.51.86.
Owen Johns doing a back 2.5 half off the 10-meter. On the twisting dives, you want to stay square on the start. You can see he just twisted a little bit too early off the start of the platform. He'll receive 4, 4.5, and 5s on this dive.
Up next is Nick Cover of West Virginia. It's in 4th through 5 rounds.
Cover doing the majority of his dives off the 10-meter platform. He'll be doing a back 2.5, 1.5, with 1.5 twists in the pike position. Beautiful. These West Virginia divers demonstrating the determination that they have and the appreciation that they have for that facility that they get to train in every single day that have the platforms. It's all about those resources and execution, and these divers have all been working so hard in such a crazy year and are just doing all of their dives so well after all they've been through.
Such a crazy year indeed, with COVID complications as well as the ice storm in Texas. We've mentioned it a few times, we'll mention it again. Still just so impressive to see these athletes performing at such a high level through what has been a lot of adversity, even over just the past week and a half. So there's Jacob Cardinal Tremblay of West Virginia, his last dive.
An inward 2.5 off of the 7.5 meter.
7.5.
A solid finish for Jacob Cardinal Tremblay. Gets a lot of height off of the platform. He's such a tall man, the tallest man in the competition, so he has a lot of length to flip around, which I know is not easy.
His teammate there, Paul Lenz, the final West Virginia diver. of this championship platform final.
All Lenz, 10 meter, 62.43.82.
An arm stand back double with 1.5 twists in the free position. And these divers can choose however they'd like to get up into the arm stand. You can see he's choosing a split leg. The judges just asked to show that control at the top of the handstand. You have to hold it for a total of 3 seconds. It's a little quick to get off the platform. It was a little loose, you could see in his core, causing him to just wash past vertical.
So up next is Andrew Harness of Texas. He's in second through 5 rounds.
Andrew Harness, 10 meter, 52.53.82.
An extra boost from the teammates. You could hear him cheering. One more dive. Very nice entry. You have to love the noise that all of these men are making when they hit the water. That rip sound is so vibrant, especially when Andrew Harness hits the water. It just sounds like a gun firing. It's so loud. Beautiful, clean entry for Andrew Harness. Finishes with 81.60 points on that dive.
So there is the man of the hour, Jordan Windall. 3.6 is his degree of difficulty on this round 6 dive. So looking to go out with a bang here. And maybe another Big 12 title.
He's already clinched the title. His last competitive platform dive at Texas happens right now. He knows how to make a statement. My goodness, Jordan Wendell becomes the first Big 12 men's diver to ever win 4 consecutive platform titles. My goodness, Kyle. I think that was the best entry he had all night.
I mean, it's like deja vu. Every dive just seemingly perfect from Jordan Windall. I'm not sure why, if we expected any different. I mean, after watching him on the 1 meter and 3 meter, it's no surprise. So another triple-digit score there for Jordan Windall of Texas.
He sweeps all 3 events, the first Big 12 men's diver to do so since 2007. He is incredible, Kyle.
In last year, the place was electric in Morgantown. Obviously wishing we had fans here in Texas, but I mean, even without the fans, you could hear those teammates and coaches just knowing they were witnessing something special.
Oh, this is special, and it's such a pleasure to watch Jordan Windall dive. And there's so much excitement with the Olympics coming up so close, and Jordan is definitely an Olympic hopeful, and it's just so fun to watch him do these dives, and it's like clockwork. He trains so hard. Max Scoggin has said to me that the Olympics is absolutely his goal, and he works hard at trying to achieve that goal every day. He asks himself the question, did I do what it takes in every practice to get one step closer? Because you know how it is training for the Olympic trials. It's years of hard work, and Jordan definitely puts in all of that.
Well, we're looking forward to watching him after this Big 12 championship. But we have more to come from Austin, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. We are back in Austin, Texas. We just watched Jordan Windall put on quite the show on the men's platform final, completing the sweep there, Natalie. I mean, watching him just feels like a treat.
The king of tens on his final 3 dives. He received multiple tens. It's like clockwork, Kyle, when you're watching him, right? On all boards. And he made the sweep. He won all 3 Big 12 Conference Championship titles in just the past 3 days.
And we do have Jordan Windall with us right now. Jordan, not 1, not 2, but 3 Big 12 titles. How are you feeling right now?
I am just incredibly drained, but you know, I pushed through it with harness, and we did what we had to do. Had a lot of fun with all the schools, and you know, it was a blast.
Jordan, you had multiple tens. Your last 3 dives, multiple tens. What fell into place for you?
You know, after I put down my arm stand, which is a dive that I've been struggling with for quite a while now, even last year, I started to feel really comfortable and really within myself. And, you know, from then on, I was just trying to have some fun, loosen up, and put on a good show for the swimmers that were able to come and watch.
You put on a great show for all of us. You become the first Big 12 men's diver to win 4 consecutive titles on the platform. What does that feel like?
It's exhilarating, you know, being able to do this for my family in Cottonwood, for my dad, and to make Matt proud with all the work that we're putting down. You know, it really does make me super happy, and I'm just very thankful.
It's an Olympic year. You're absolutely an Olympic hopeful. Jordan Windall, what needs to go right for you for us to see you compete in Tokyo?
I really hope COVID goes away, but you know, just keep training, staying healthy, make sure the vibes at practice are positive, and you know, do what we do best, and that's just train hard and have fun.
Awesome.
Jordan, congratulations. Thanks
you.
again for joining us, and good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Moving forward. Awesome. So, speaking of Jordan Windall, we've been talking about him for a while. We're going to take a look at his 4th and 6th round dives here, Natalie.
Just amazing. I mean, back to back to back tens on all of these dives. His forward 4.5 tuck, his back twister, his reverse 3.5 tuck. It's just unbelievable watching Jordan Windall, his muscle memory, the years of hard work that go into all of these dives. And you can see his teammates so excited for him because they get to watch him every day in practice. Talk about a treat, watching Jordan Windall dive so well every single day, and it's just so exciting.
And so there is a summary of your 2021 Big 12 Diving Championships. Only one name up there for the men, and it's Jordan Windall. With Paulo Pineda getting 2 titles for Texas in the 3-meter and the platform, and Bridget O'Neill, another Longhorn, winning the women's 1-meter. So the Texas Longhorns sweep all 6 of the diving events here at the 2021 Big 12 Swimming and Diving Championships.
It's unbelievable. So much excitement around all of these athletes, and just looking at the big picture of the swim and dive championship race, so many points provided from all of the teams and all of the divers that made the finals contributed to so many points just in the overall race. You know, all the swimmers were anxiously watching the diving, wanting to see how their teammates were doing because they are not here in person. It's a much different atmosphere, but we're getting the same results, which is amazing.
So a bit of a spoiler alert right there. I don't know if it's much of a spoiler with how dominant the Texas men were here in 2021. They're getting their Big 12 championship shirts. There's Austin Katz and a few other swimmers that were able to come out and cheer on Jordan Windall and his teammates.
And Kyle, you know, from being a senior and a student athlete at Arizona State, it's all about the seniors, right? I mean, wasn't your senior conference championship meet just the best? I wish I could redo it every single year.
Hey, as do I. I mean, it was the best. It was emotional. It was a lot of things. So for a lot of these guys, they have another meet coming up at NCAA's. You know, for some people, this is it. And it's an emotional thing. These are a lot of your best friends, and a lot of your best friends for the rest of your life. You just spent 4, maybe 4.5 if you're lucky, like I was, years with these guys. And I mean, I know they wish they could double it and turn it into 8.
Absolutely. And just such an unprecedented year, and all these swimmers and divers worked so hard in their training and their nutrition and just taking care of their bodies. And I'm telling you, Kyle, after watching all of these athletes compete, it's like they didn't even miss a beat. I mean, it's pretty amazing stuff.
Definitely amazing. You said didn't even skip a beat, and it seems like they added some beats. We have meet records going down across the country, fast swimming and great diving. So again, these guys will be competing again at NCAAs very shortly, and a lot of them have their eyes set on that NCAA championship.
They definitely do.
There is the Big 12 trophy.
Wow, that's some nice hardware. As you mentioned, Texas being dominant, they've won every event since 2012. That is
Texas dominance definitely on display here in Austin, Texas yet again. But that will be it on the 2021 Big 12 Swimming and Diving Championship. So we're waiting for this trophy to go to the champions, Texas, on the men's and women's side. Swimmers putting on such a display in the pool. I know they wish they could compete together. We heard Jordan Windall. Hopefully next year we'll see everybody back together.
I sure hope so. And these athletes deserve all the credit and all the applause because they've just fought so much adversity this year and have just worked so hard to just perform at their absolute best. And it's so exciting to see all their hard work just blossom.
Hard work and for people this age as well. We're a bit older now, if you could say that. But remembering what I was like in college, imagining myself going through COVID and all of these complications, and then, throwing the ice storm into the mix as well. I went through it here in Austin, and it was such a pain. I didn't really feel like I needed to leave or needed to go train.
It's crazy. And on the Texas side, Paula Pineda, she didn't have water in her apartment for 6 days. 6 whole days, and she won 2 conference titles. It's amazing what these athletes have done. And the Texas men, as a team, they've won every Big 12 title since the conference started. And the Texas women have won every year since 2012. So it's such amazing stuff that this team just works so well together. That's a testament to the coaches and all of the people on the staff and the recruiting. Constantly recruiting these top-level athletes is just amazing.
Yeah, and the Texas men recruiting so well. And, another Big 12 championship on both the men's and the women's side. And, Natalie, I want to thank you for joining me over these past 3 days. Your analysis has been incredible.
Thanks, Kyle. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm just living vicariously through these athletes. I know we both wish we could be on the pool deck. I still somehow feel like I'm still a student athlete, right? It never quite leaves you.
It never leaves you. And thanks to Natalie, thanks to Josh Davis, the Big 12 Conference, and our entire crew on site in Austin, Texas. For the last time at the Big 12 Swimming and Diving Championships, I'm Kyle Sockwell signing off from the Lee and Joe Jamel Swim Center. A quick reminder that all sessions from the event are archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.